Hi, this is Kelly. Thank you so much for watching my channel, Books I'm Not Reading. I'm here with my husband, Jason, from Old Blues Chapter and Verse. And we have been, this year, going through this book, A Whole Life in 12 Movies, which is not true. It's actually...
It's also not great.
14 movies. And it's by Kathleen, Norris, and Gareth, Higgins. The reason why, I think I gave this to you as a Christmas gift, right?
Yeah.
So the subtitle of this is A Cinematic Journey to a Deeper Spirituality, which is not at all, like, has nothing to do with this book. Like, so anyway, like, we're more than halfway done, so we're gonna finish this. I keep telling Jason, like, we should have written a book like this.
It's not too late.
But anyway, so today the theme of the chapter, which again I find a little bit strange, is called Overcoming Success. And I guess I didn't realize that was, like, I don't know, a chapter of life, but maybe I'm wrong. You guys feel free to chime in and tell me. But we watched a documentary called Faces, Places. It's a French film, and it came out in 2017. It is free right now on Tubi, and that is a free streaming platform. And so I strongly recommend watching the film. I think,
the film's
fantastic,
wonderful.
So, for me, anyway, of all the movies we've watched, this is in the, like, top 2, I would say.
Yeah?
Yeah. Okay, you want to talk a little bit about what... and there's some stuff in the film about French filmmakers, and Jason knows a lot more about movies than I do, so... You want to talk, Jason, about the importance of Agnes Varda?
I can do that.
Okay,
I can
all right.
speak to that.
Okay.
So Agnes Varda. So we have a box set of Criterion DVDs, four by Varda, and 2 of them I still haven't watched, but 2 of them, Cleo from 5 to 7 and Vagabond, are just tremendous films. Cleo from 5 to 7 is a masterpiece, I think. And just briefly, she was one of the French New Wave filmmakers, but she wasn't her. And she was married to a director named Jacques Demy, who was most famous for The Umbrellas of Cherbourg. So both of them were part of the French New Wave, but they weren't sort of like seminal figures in the French New Wave. They weren't like, that was Godard and Truffaut, really. I mean, those two were the crux. They were like the 2 beams of the French New Wave. And it's because they were introducing all these new kind of techniques and things. Like, they were really big on jump cuts, which she uses in Faces, Places. But Agnes Varda and Jacques Demy both they were just interested in other things, really, than the French New Wave filmmakers were. Those guys, Godard and Truffaut were much more interested in kind of like
more experimental, right?
Yeah, it was more about the form, and it was more about technique, and then but Demy was like, I want to make a couple of musicals,
Lots of bright colors.
Yeah, and Varda was doing a lot of documentaries throughout her career. She was making documentary shorts and documentary features, and just kind of doing her own thing. And she's just kind of a sort of wonderfully odd bird of an artist, which is refreshing. And Faces, Places is this documentary that she co-directed with the photographer who goes by J.R.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing, so in a nutshell, Faces, Places, they travel around the French countryside in many ways, which is not unlike Vagabond, which is about a woman who's homeless, just going from place to place in the French countryside. And they are kind of immersing themselves in the locales that they find, kind of sort of ruined communities. Literally like houses that are ruins because they was
not all the time.
Well, not all the time, but I mean, if you look at the miners' place, right? Like,
right.
so those places are abandoned now. And then then there's the town that was started to be built and was abandoned halfway through, and so the houses were never finished. So there's a lot of that kind of thing, but really they're focused on humanity. They're focused on the ordinary people who live in these places, the stories that their faces can tell.
Yeah, so J.R. has this van that he travels around with, and the back of it is, think of it as, booth. Yeah, it's like a photo booth, but except the pictures that it prints are huge. These huge pictures, and anyway, so sometimes like you see people like taking their own giant picture off, and then they, JR and his team like plaster it up against the wall. They don't really talk about like how he does everything that he does with photos, because sometimes it's the full image of a person, like head to toe.
So if someone has their portrait taken, the giant photo is their portrait.
It's like this.
I mean, it's even bigger than that.
Well, no, it's bigger, but I'm saying like it's this part of your face.
But then other times, the giant photos are like compartmentalized sort of puzzle pieces of the photo.
Right. There's a they go to a, oh God, I don't know what to call it, but I mean they're all like is it the shipyard with the
the dock where the dock workers are.
And so there's no women. Well, there's like one woman that works there or whatever, and so
no, I don't think there's any.
Well, she drives a truck.
She's a truck driver.
She's a truck driver. Okay.
Yeah, but she's still married to a dock worker.
Okay, that's true. And so anyway, they take full length pictures of them, but then the pictures must be like cut up a certain way, because they assemble them with all of these shipping containers, right? So
that's a way to put it.
What?
No.
How would you put it?
It's a difficult thing to talk about.
It is. Anyway, but I mean, like one town, they talked about like how important the postman was in that town, and that, one little old lady, he used to take her, not only her mail, but a baguette every day.
So they put him on the side of a building.
Put him on the side of a building, and it's really, and I also really loved the one where the woman who works in the bar, she...
Oh, I thought it was a coffee shop. She's like a barista, I think.
Maybe it is a coffee shop. I don't know. Anyway, she puts on this particular dress that was requested, and they find a parasol, and so she feels a little bit uncomfortable with it, like, all these people are having their picture taken with it, and it's on Instagram and stuff like that, and it's her.
People are having their picture taken with her larger than life, building sized portrait.
Yes. Yeah. And I can see how that could be strange, but the one that made me the saddest was...
It was at Normandy, and it was a German, one of those German bunkers that the Nazis had built to essentially, to lay waste to the landing craft there on the beach by the Allied forces.
And so they figure out when low tide is, when it's high tide, that kind of thing, and they use one of Varda's pictures that she's taken. Again, I don't know how, but it's massive. And, and it's really cool because initially the photo, the guy was sitting up against like a shed. So he's kind of sitting in like this L-shaped. Yeah. And then they put him on the bunker, and it's almost like cradling him.
Yeah. Because the bunker has been pushed off a cliff, and the corner of it is dug into the sand, and so it's weird. It looks like this.
It looks like a piece of modern art. Yeah. But they go back the next day, and the water has washed it all away, and and it seemed like J.R. like very much understands like that his work is temporary. It's
Well, you know what that reminded me of?
ephemeral.
Yeah, what that reminded me of is the sand mandalas that Buddhist monks do.
Oh,
Right?
and
I mean,
then
they
they-
spend all this time, hundreds of hours creating these elaborate, and then they just brush them away.
Do you know who the artist Christo is?
No,
Okay. So Christo,
I could make jokes. I could be like, we went way back. We went to high school together,
Oh.
me and Christo. I could tell you about. I
Okay,
could tell you
alright.
about stories about Christo that would
All
curl your
right.
toes.
So Christo and his wife made these art pieces, like installation art pieces, that were like they wrapped up a building, like in fabric.
Oh, I've heard of this. I just didn't know
And
it was
he draped this huge piece of cloth across a canyon, and it's just very like logistical things to figure out, like lots of like engineering and trying to figure out how to do this, and they're temporary. They don't stay there forever. There was one in Central Park where it was like you're going along one of the pathways, and there's just these like not flags, but just like pieces of fabric that are stretched across. And I actually met him and got his autograph for my mom, because she was an art teacher. God only knows where that is now. But anyway, so but again, it's something that's temporary, that you have to let go of the fact that it's not going to be there forever. I mean, some people, there was a farmer that they did an image of on the side of his barn, which was, again, it was amazing. It was huge. It was just absolutely incredible. And, he said he was going to keep it up, like keep it on there, but
Eventually
it's gonna
and the
wash
wind will
away,
take it away, yeah.
So, yeah, but
Well, one of the things that I found interesting was how that art, which is it's all portraiture, right? Even when it's a goat, it's still portraiture. And it being temporary like that, it being ephemeral like that, is not unlike a human life itself, right? I mean, our lives themselves are temporal, and it's one of the things. So, and this has always been kind of an obsession of artists, right? So the documentary is very much of a piece with much of the rest of her work. So Vagabond is, it focuses on landscapes, and it focuses on this one individual woman, and it's very much about her corporeality, right? How the weather affects her body, her living, how other people do, how she's brutalized by circumstances in the environment and by other people, et cetera, et cetera. And then there's the fact of, and if I remember right, I mean, the film begins, so it's sort of told in reverse, right? The film begins with the discovery of her corpse in a ditch, right? So it's
a really happy film.
Well, yeah. So, but it's about how fleeting it all really is, And in Cleo from 5 to 7, again, right? Cleo from 5 to 7 is about a French pop singer who's waiting for cancer results, right? Is she going to live or not? And there's a scene in that film where she's singing a song directly to the camera, as though she's singing to us. And Varda's camera just lingers on her face. Like she's just obsessed with faces, which then makes me, of course, think of, because I'm a big, huge Bergman fan, and Bergman considered the face a kind of X-ray of the soul, that a person's soul could be apprehended somehow through their face. And Faces Places feels like a film that is very much in touch with that idea.
Yeah, you really get the sense that it's like he's making the photos or whatever, and getting all of that, the kind of logistical stuff together, and in the meantime she's out like talking to the people who are getting their picture taken, or who have had their picture taken, and just like, yeah, like just trying to get to, she wants to know who these people are and what their lives are like. And, yeah, it's just really, you can tell, like, she really, that even though it's fleeting, maybe on the side of a building, like, she wants to remember their faces. And, there's also a poignancy about the film because Varda was losing her vision at the time. So everything is, for her, is very blurry. And, you know, the camera actually shows us something from, like, her perspective, or what they guess her perspective to be, I guess. But,
in a couple of different instances.
Right, like the eyeglass exam. They have a whole bunch of people sitting on these steps, and, you know, when you go
holding up letters.
Yeah, and so the people at the top are holding up the big letters, and the people at the bottom are holding smaller letters, and she was like, okay, now ask them to move the letters up and down. And so they do, and
because her vision is like
that's
blurry.
That's what her vision is like. Yeah. So anyway, it's very, and I think it's especially difficult for her because, you know, she made films. Like, it's all about, you know, lingering on someone's face. And so what, like, but you never get the sense that she is angry about it or upset. Like, it is what it is. And so she's happy to see whatever she can see. And there's also this very fascinating intergenerational dynamic between Varda and J.R. Like, you know, he seems like this, you know, cool guy.
He's like a hipster dude.
With the sunglasses on and the hat all the time. And she's always kind of, like, talking to him about, you know, taking his glasses off and that kind of thing. Your glasses are off-putting to other people, you know, that sort of thing. And, but yeah, they really share a lot together. Like, you get the sense that they're friends. We never find out how they have met each other, right? Like, did I miss that?
No, at the beginning they talk about, well, we didn't meet in this way. We didn't meet in this way.
You know, and they show it, which is hysterical too, right?
Yeah.
Like, so.
I think they were just admirers of each
floor.
other's work, you know. And it's interesting because she's 88 at the time they made this, and he was 33. It's a huge difference in age, and they don't shy away from it. They have conversations about this, you know, how each of them kind of sees the world differently, and there's this beautiful scene where they go and meet J.R.'s grandmother, who's just turned 100 at this time, so she's even older than Varda. So Varda is like a young woman, you know, to this grandmother. But yeah, it's a beautiful consideration, the film is, of human stories and human lives, and you know, and how precious they really are, in part because they're transitory. And it reminded me a lot, with this attention on faces, it reminded me a ton of various other movies. There's Paolo Sorrentino's The Great Beauty, which has this amazing sequence where there's this photographic artist who, from the time he was born, his father took a photograph of him every day.
Oh, yeah.
And then eventually, and did that all through his childhood. And then eventually he took over taking the pictures of himself. And he's like a 40-year-old man now. And it's this art installation of photos of him from every day of his life. The same framing.
Yeah.
And it's so incredibly moving, that scene. It's incredibly moving. And in my film club, the last two films that we watched, Pather Panchali and All Dirt Road's Taste of Salt, both of them, the camera's just obsessed with not only the faces of their subjects, but the hands of their subjects, the textures of the skin of these people, like it just lingers on the corporeality of these people. And I didn't realize that Faces Places was going to just slot so neatly into something that my mind has been occupied with for the last week and a half anyway. So that was cool.
Yeah. Okay, so what do you think, why is this the movie they chose, and what do you think about the chapter title, Overcoming Success?
So the chapter and the chapter title, this is like, there's not, so the chapter title is stupid. Overcoming Success. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense, even in their discussion of its relation to the film. If anything, the chapter title could have been called Redefining Success. That would have been better. Because as they're talking about, Varda was not a commercial filmmaker. And by which I don't mean TV commercials, I mean, financially successful.
Right. And she didn't care. She didn't care about the success of her film.
So she was defining success on her own terms. So that would have been a better title for the chapter. But yeah, they do a really, really, really poor job of explaining why this is a sort of life stage and what it means and how it, it's, the book is so, and we've talked about this before, but it's
so bad.
It's weak tea in book form, right?
Well, and this chapter in particular, there are factual errors.
Yeah, a number of factual errors.
It's almost as though they hadn't watched the movie for a while. Because I was reading it right after we watched it, and I'm going, no, wait, that was not what happened. And I even asked Jason at one point, like, am I crazy? Like, is this correct? And Jason was like, no, so it was very disappointing to me. And I think Jason and I have talked a lot about the fact that, this book feels like it needs another draft. It needs, more editing.
Yeah.
Like,
it was just dashed off.
Yeah. But
they just emailed each other and said, hey, let's collect our emails into a book and we'll just bypass the editing process altogether.
But it's disappointing because it's an opportunity to talk about, a stage of your life. And I mean, I'm so happy they picked this film. The films in the back that are recommended for each chapter, I didn't get at all how those films were connected to each other, connected to Faces Places. Normally, I can at least do that, but I didn't really think the films in the back of the book had any more to say about Overcoming Success than Faces Places. But I'm just so glad. I'm so glad we watched it because I would have never seen it otherwise. And I thought the art in it was just absolutely, I've just never seen anything like that. So it was really, really incredible. And it was nominated for an Oscar for Best Documentary. So I mean, I guess I'm glad, and next month's movie, which I'll share with you shortly, is as good or better. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, I read the chapter today, and there are all these, like Kelly said, the factual errors from the film itself, but also, as she talks about, Varda died at the age of 91. No, she didn't die at the age of 91. And a quick check of the Internet Movie Database would have told you that she died like 2 or 3 months before
her birthday.
She turned 91. So
she was 90.
It's disappointing, partly because Kathleen Norris should know better. I mean, she's a really well respected writer.
Yeah. And she's written. This is not like her debut book or anything. She's written a lot.
Everybody always says, "Oh, when they're reading a novel and they're just, well, I could have done this so much better." We really could have done this so much better. We actually could have. Who knows? Maybe we could use Shakespeare's stages of life as a model
That's is that an As
I think
You Like
yeah,
It?
it's an As You Like It. I think yeah. So there are a lot of different things you could do with the template of this idea, and boy, they just did just a really poor job, a really poor job.
And there's nothing in this chapter about our spirituality. I don't think, anyway. Like,
No.
there's nothing.
Well, that's the other thing, though. Is that they're trying to make it a book. They're trying so hard to make it a book for everyone that it feels
that it's
like
like a book for no one. Yes.
And
that is a great way to...
they're so afraid. Like, oh, if we mention scripture, we're gonna alienate everybody else. And so yeah, they're just really afraid of tying. You know, there's so much from the Gospels alone that could be kind of related back to faces, places. I mean, it's one of the things that Jesus was so great at, is seeing people. And there's so much tactility in the Gospels, right? Like, I mean, like the dirt in his hands and spitting into his hands and making the mud. Like, I mean, there's just a lot of tactility there. So yeah, there's tons that could have been done with this chapter. But frankly, it shouldn't even have dealt with success. The film is her redefining her. It's never really addressed in the movie. It's not about that. It's not about that. They're sort of they're looking at the scope of her career and saying, oh, well, she defines success on her own terms, etc. But that's not what the film is about.
Right, exactly.
So take what the film is actually about, which is about recognizing the humanity in other people.
Yeah, it's not a documentary on Varda, right? No. I mean, like, it's about two artists. They want to do this thing together, and so yeah, they go out and do it and get to know each other and banter back and forth a little bit, but it's not. The film is not about a retrospective of her career or anything like that. I think maybe there's one clip from Cleo from 5 to 7.
Yeah, they show a clip from Cleo from 5 to 7, and they might show one or two other clips from her work. I can't remember.
There's a block of homes that coal miners, I think. Yeah. Coal miners had lived in, and they were set for demolition, and there's one woman, and she just refuses. She's refusing to leave.
She's the last woman who lives there.
And instead of taking current pictures, they use pictures of, people who might have lived there quite a long time ago, right? Like, they're from
miners from the past.
Yeah,
and they paste them along the outside, the exterior walls of all of these different kind of miners' homes.
Right. But because she's the last person to live there, and like she's refusing to go, then they take her picture, and that's what's on her house.
Yeah, they tell her they want to celebrate her. And her kind of resolve, I think.
Stay.
Yeah, and she's so moved by it, and that's one of the things Kathleen Norris gets wrong. She talks in the book about how they paste an image of this woman's grandfather on the outside of her house.
Frustrating.
And then when she sees it, she's so moved by it, and no, it's not her grandfather, it's her.
No, and she is moved by it, and she loves it, and she just you get the sense like she's not going to touch it.
So next month, tell us the theme and the movie.
Okay, so next month, the theme is generosity, and the film is Babette's Feast. I'm so excited. I love this movie so much. It is a Danish film that came out in 1987. And I will put something up on my community page in September about where it's streaming or where you can access it. If nothing else, like your library might own a copy of it on DVD. But it's a that theme and that film like fit very, very well together. It's also a short story, and I read it last year and I can't recommend it highly enough. Like it's just wonderful. It's absolutely
There was a
wonderful.
little pause at the end of that when you were like, I can't recommend it. And I was like,
I
I thought you
know.
really loved it. And then you're like, highly enough.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us. If you have seen Faces Places or any films by Varda, yeah, let us know down in the comment section what you think. As always, if you don't feel comfortable leaving a comment, you can leave an emoji. You can give this video a thumbs up. I do appreciate it. So, yeah, we look forward to talking to you in the comment section. And BookTube, remember to be kind to yourself, be kind to others. I'll be back soon with another video. Bye.
Adios.